Welcome back to another episode on Additional Mathematics, where we look at the syllabus code 4049, where we look at chapter 9 of our textbooks, which is on trigonometry. And today, you might wonder, why didn't I write anything? Yeah, because usually I'll write something, right? Well, today we are going to cover one subtopic on chapter 9 of our textbooks. And I've said it in the previous video that we are going to kick off with this subtopic, which is on none other than trigographs. Okay, so let me ask you a question. What exactly do you think trigographs is, or what comes to your mind when you hear the word or these two words, trigographs? You can pause the video to think about it, and I'll reveal my answer now. All right, but remember to pause the video so you can think about it. Yeah, for me, right, I will think about trigographs as, I'll break it down in two words. One word for trigo and another word for graphs. Okay, so for graphs, I will think of like maybe, hold on, let me get this dot. All right, so for graphs, let's start with trigo first. All right, so for trigo, I'll think of triangles. All right, as I said in the previous video, what is something that comes to your mind when you hear the word trigonometry? That's what I think, and I will say is triangles. And I will say the functions as well: sine, cosine, tangent. Okay, these three. Okay, what else other than, yeah, and how about graphs? All right, so I'll think of graphs as you're going to sketch or draw, and it involves hold on. It also involves your x and y axis. Okay, so in short, basically it's correct, because trigographs, the real definition of trigographs is to draw, actually more of sketch. Questions in the O levels or in the school papers, they will ask you to sketch the graph. So you'll be sketching a graph. All right, sketch graph related to sine, cosine, or tangent. Okay, so that is the meaning of trigograph. So it's a trigograph sketching. All right, so in this subtopic and in the 4049 syllabus, all right, you will learn three different kinds of graphs, and you have to know them. So I will color code them. Yeah, so one will be in pink, another one will be in yellow, and then let's do, should we do purple? Let's see, let me test it out. Okay, now I think purple is a bit confusing. Let's do blue. Okay, but I have blue here already. How about orange? I guess it's different shades. Okay, so let's get started on the what do you call it, on the graphs, right? Okay, so where's my pink color? Yeah. Okay, so the first one we have to know how to draw is a sine x graph, or a negative sine x graph. So these are just general graphs, and yeah, yeah, so these are basically just general graphs, but in the questions they will ask you to sketch a more complicated graph, which I will show you in the next two videos, or one or two videos, and yeah, we will go into that soon. Okay, but for now, let's learn how the shape looks like, and let's also learn about the different kinds of coordinates you have to plot, and also the range of values for the degrees. Okay, so we are also going to learn about cosine graphs. So cosine x or negative cosine x. And the last one in orange, which is what is not very commonly tested in the school papers, but in O levels they might come out. We don't know, right? Only SEAB or Cambridge will know. So it will be your tangent x graph. Or it will be your, hold on, tangent x or negative tangent x graph. Okay, so in today's video, we will only be covering two graphs, actually four, but only two trigo ratios, sine and cosine. For tangent, we will do in the next video, okay? Next vid, alright? So, we are only going to cover sine x and negative sine x and cosine x and negative cosine x, okay? So, without further ado, let's go into the details about sine x and cosine x graph and what are the different things you have to consider when drawing a trigo graph. Alright, so I'll erase all this first and yeah, we're gonna get started, man. Alright, do you mind if I just clear this up? Okay, so we're gonna look at four different graphs, yeah? So if I'm not wrong, I remember I think it was pink and yellow, right? Let me just check. Yeah, pink and yellow. Okay, so pink for sine, yellow for cosine. Alright, so we're gonna look at sine x graph first. Okay, but before we look into sine x graph, let me tell you what are the things to consider. So before drawing a trigo graph, actually before sketching, okay? Oh my god, my bad. So before sketching, right, what I want you to consider are these two very important things: the range of the x values and also the values which are going to put at the y-axis. So on the x-axis, you must know that it ranges from 0 degrees to 360 degrees. Okay? So basically, this is the range. So this means that, which I'll write in a different color, x must be more than or equal to 0 degrees and x have to be less than or equal to 360 degrees. Alright, and it really depends on the question, yeah? So always before sketching, you must know this. And in a general trigo graph, you know that for your y-axis values, they are usually, for your y-axis is usually 1 and negative 1. Okay, so what do I mean by this? I will show you later on. But before that, let's make this smaller. Okay, so we shall put it like this here, yeah? Okay, so we are going to go into sine x graph. Okay, so what exactly is a sine x graph and what does the shape looks like? If you're a Sec 3 student, this will be new for you, and yes, I hope you learned something. But if you are a Sec 4 student, you should roughly know what the shape looks like. But of course, I don't expect you to know, right? Because like what I said, every human beings forget. You know, who can remember everything you tell me? Neither can I. Alright, so let's start. Alright, so we have your, I'll use a ruler so that, you know, I'll be able to do it as well. And of course, you have your x-axis. So let's see if this is centralized. Okay, somewhere here, yeah. So I'll draw it super duper short like this. And I'll call this my x-axis and my y-axis. Okay, so this is for sine x, yeah. Okay, so in a positive sine x graph, you will know that the shape, actually I'll erase this because I'll write it later on, yeah. But this is on sine x, positive sine x. Alright, so the shape will look like this. Hold on. Wait a minute. It doesn't look right. Okay, hold on. You know what? Whatever. Okay, so basically, the shape will look like this. So this is a sine x graph. Hold on. Okay, this is a sine x graph. Alright, y equals to sine x. Okay, so we do know that in a sine x graph, actually this is a wave, as you have learned in physics. If I'm not wrong, I think it's chapter 11 or 10 on the chapter of general wave properties. You have learned that or you have seen a wave diagram which is like this, so something similar, yeah. And of course, don't forget about the origin. All right, so always remember, yeah, like what I said, remember y-axis is 1 and -1, so the top here is 1 and the bottom here is -1. 1 is, okay, let me add on, above the origin, and -1 is below the origin. Okay, two keywords, above and below. Okay, and let's look at the first one here, which we have to know that x has to be more than 0 and less than 360 degrees. So we know that, let's plot our coordinates here. We know that there are 4 coordinates right here. 1, 2, 3, 4. We know that this is 90, this is 180, this is 270, this is 360. So if you want to label the coordinates, right, how would you want to label it, yeah? So we know that in elementary mathematics, you have learned how to plot graphs and label your coordinates. Same thing, alright? Just label them and yeah, you're all good, man. Okay, so right here, yeah. So we know this is a 190. We know that this is a 0. Wait, the other way around, sorry. 91, 180, 0. 270, 0, -1, sorry, hold on, yeah. I keep thinking that the smaller value is, you know, the x coordinate, my fault. So this is 270, comma, -1, and 0, 360, hold on, let me make my bracket bigger. This is a 360, comma, 0. All right, so yeah, that's about it for a sine x graph. All right, so we do know that why is it -1 here. Just look at it, it is on this line here. I'm gonna draw it out for you. So it's like this, and then for here it's like that, and then because 180 and 360 lies on the origin, and that's why it's just 180, comma, 0. Now let's draw in white. All right, y equals to negative sine x. So this is a negative graph. Okay, alright, actually I want to make it same size, so gonna undo it a little bit. Let's see. Oh, okay. It's about 7 plus cm. Okay, I'll just draw like that, and of course we need your x-axis as well. Okay, just give me a second, yeah. Okay, so way too long. Okay, like that. X-axis, y-axis, and your origin. Okay, so this is a negative sine x graph, so the shape will look like this. You see the difference? Alright, y equals to negative sine x. Actually, I want to write it at the side here because I want to plot my coordinates. You notice that it's just a mirror image. So if we compare this one, can I duplicate this? You know what? I'll just sketch it on here, yeah. So if you do notice, right, for a negative sin x graph, it just goes the other way around. So just like this, and then because you see, if this is like that, right, if it goes like this, mirror image will be like this. Alright, so I'll cancel that out. And if you notice that this one goes like that, mirror image will be upwards, right, which I will sketch it out for you as well. Alright, so yeah, that's why it's like that. Okay, and always remember your 1 and your negative 1. Okay, so I'll just have to extend my y-axis a bit, but I'll just take it at here. Okay, 1, negative 1. Okay, so what do we know here? Our coordinates, yeah? 0 degrees, x must be more than 0 and less than or equal to 360. More than equal to 0, less than or equal to 360. Super sorry about that. Alright, so let's label our coordinates. So we have 4 coordinates as usual. This is 90, 180, 270, and 360 degrees. Alright, I'm gonna draw a line here, yeah, so you guys will know, yeah. Okay, so we know that this coordinate here is 90, negative 1, 0, 180. What else? 270, 1, and of course 360, 0. Okay. And before I forget, they might ask you to leave it in radians. Alright, so I'm gonna go through a bit of the radian. Alright, so if they ask you to leave it in radians, alright, we do know that pi is 180 degrees and 2 pi is 360 degrees. Alright, so if they ask you to leave it in radians, right, it can be the other way around. Oh, I wrote the wrong color, my fault. Okay, I'm gonna add it in my before sketching here. So let me write it in yellow. Pi is 180 degrees. So this is from a radian to degree conversion. So why 2 pi 360? Because pi times 2 is 2 pi. 180 times 2 is 360. Alright, so it can be or it can be 0 degree less than equal to less than equal to x less than or equal to 2 pi. Sorry, this is just 0. No need degree, yeah? So if let's say I ask you to label the coordinates in radians, which I'll label it in yellow, this will be pi over 2, 1. This will be pi, 0. This will be 3 pi over 2, negative 1. And this will be 2 pi, 0. Whoa. What am I saying over here? Yeah? So if you look back at our conversion, pi degree is 180. To get pi over 2, simply take 180 divided by 2 to get 90 degrees. And how do we get 3 pi over 2 as 270? Just take 180 times 3 over 2. That will just give you 270. 90 times 3, 270 degrees. Alright, so that is for radian conversion. So from a degree to radian conversion, yeah. This is very important, especially in solving for trigo. Not really necessary. I would say it's more on the special angles part that is very important, which I will cover it together with proving. And in this question, how would I want to label it in radians, right? Same thing, pi over 2, negative 1, 0, pi. Wait, I just realized something. I wrote this wrongly. My fault. This should be, you guys know, right? It should be the other way around. My bad, So it will be 180, 0. And then this should be pi and 0. Okay. I saw a dot here. Give me a second. Ooh, there we go. Okay. So this will be my fault. This, and then we know that this is 3 pi over 2 comma 1, and this is 2 pi comma 0. Okay, so yellow is in radians, white is in degrees, but in the negative sign x is the purple that is in the degrees, and the yellow that is still in the radians. Okay, so now we are going to go into cosine x graph. Okay, but before that I will take a screenshot. Okay, but yeah, just give me a moment because this thing, you know, is still over there. Alright, there we go. Alright. Gee, hold on. I'll just clear this part and I'll leave this here. Alright, so now let's go into our cosine x graph, which I think I did in yellow, right? So we'll now look at cosine x. Okay, this video might take about 30 minutes as I have to draw, yeah? So don't mind me. I really thank you for your attention, yeah? It's really appreciated. Alright, but before I start drawing, I forgot to mention this. If you want to take a break, you can pause the video here and go and take a break. Go get some fresh air, go get some drinks, go get some snacks, go get whatever you want. Do whatever you want to do. If you want to play games, just go and play games. If you want to look at your phone, go look at your phone, you know? Yeah, just do it, man. Just take a break, and yeah, whenever you're ready to come back, just come back. And yeah, basically I'll just even go through this like right now. So yeah, you can just pause the video to take a break, yeah? Don't worry about it, man. Everyone needs a break. Alright? So yeah, you can go for your break if you want, or you want to stay. You can just stay until I finish going through the cosine x and negative cosine x. Alright, so the way I'm going to explain it is going to be pretty similar as well, because I will also it's just the shape is different, but the rest is the same. Alright, so let's recap again, and if you are back from your break, welcome back, and let's go into cosine x and negative cosine x graphs. Okay, so before we sketch, right, always remember this is a very important point here. The first point, x have to be more than 0 degrees and you have to be less than 360 degrees. Questions will write it out like that, but break it down for yourselves and know that x is more than 0 degrees and x is less than or equal to 360 degrees. Wait, let me repeat that. X is more than or equal to 0 and x is less than or equal to 360 degrees. This is very important because questions will give it to you in like this. And the green one is what they actually mean. So in this way, they're a bit indirect, and you have to really unpack it for yourself to really fully understand it. Okay? And I forgot to write this out, man. I forgot to write about this. When basically means that x must be less than or equal to 0. X have to be less than and more than equal to 0, sorry. And then x have to be less than or equal to 2 pi. Okay, that's basically what they mean, which I forgot to write in sine x, but I'm guessing you should know, right? Because it's just the 360 that is replaced with 2 pi. Alright, so let's go into cosine x, where now we will look at our cosine x graph. Alright, so y equals to cosine x, the shape will look like this. Oh my god, what is that? Alright, so this is just, for me, I'll think of this shape as like a hole, you know? So whenever I see sine x, I'll think of a wave, and when I see cosine x, I'll think of a hole. Alright, so this is your, where should I write it? I'll just write it here. Y equals to cosine x graph. Alright, so of course don't forget our origin. And second point, very important again, your y-axis, 1 and negative 1. 1 is above the origin and negative 1 is below the origin. So let's put that in our graph. 1, negative 1. Okay, and of course we have our coordinates here. So 1, 2, 3, 4. Okay, so we know this is 90, 180 over here, this is 270, and over here is 360. Okay, so I'll write yellow in degrees, white in radians. Okay, so this is 90, 0, 180, -1, 270, 0, and 360, 1. Okay, and in radians will be same thing, pi over 2, 0, pi, -1, 3 pi over 2, 0, and 2 pi, 1. Okay, so do you notice something different between sin x and cosine x? If you do notice, right, you do notice that your what do you call it, let me think. So you do notice that the 180 and the 360 is 1. Okay, so if I draw a sin x graph, yeah, let's just say, whoa, okay, so this is 90, 1, 180, 270. So do you notice something? So do you notice that now instead of having 90 and 270 with the y-axis values which are not 0, we have your, now instead it will be 180 and your 360. Oh, I forgot about the 360 there. My fault. Alright, so that's the slight difference, yeah. If you can see, I don't even know what I'm writing over here, but yeah, this is what I mean is 180, 80, 0. Okay, so do you notice that now in your cosine x graph, 180 has a value here with the y-axis which is -1, and 360 which has also a y-axis value of 1. But in the sin x graph, you see that 180, 0 and 360, 0. Okay, so I'm just going to erase this sin x graph. So I'm erasing, yeah, you can just go and have a short, maybe 5 to 10 second break. Alright, oh my god, this thing keeps coming off. Oh my god. Okay, so now let's draw the negative cosine x graph. Okay, oh, by the way, I'll be writing this here. Just give me a moment. Okay, hold on. So of course I will have my ruler with me as well. Okay, all the arranging I'll do it later, and of course I'll take a screenshot, but I will take it when I stop the video. I think the line's a bit crooked. So y-axis and your x-axis. Alright, so if we focus on this graph, how will a negative cosine x graph look like? It will look like this. Alright, so we know that this is a y equals to negative cosine x. Alright, so we know that we have 4 coordinates again. We have our origin, we have 1 and -1. So we have, of course, our 4 coordinates again, as mentioned earlier, which I'll write in yellow. Never mind, I'll write it in white. 1, 2, 3, and 4. Okay. Wait, why does it look so awkward? Okay, never mind. I'm correct. Alright. So we know that this is 90, 180. Hold on, let me erase this first. 270 and 360. Why are all these values written? As mentioned earlier here, x have to be more than or equal to 0 and x must be less than 360 degrees. And why do we put only 4 coordinates, as forgotten to mention? Because we only need the 90, 180, 270 and 360. That is the minimum requirements for in the exams when you're sketching the graphs. Alright, so now I will start to write out the values. Yeah, so degrees in white and radians in yellow this time. Alright, so this is 90, 0. This is 180, 1, 270, 0. Oops, sorry, excuse me. 270, 0, and 360, -1. And in radians, it'll be pi over 2, 0, pi 1, 3 pi over 2, 0, and of course 2 pi -1. Alright, so that's in radians and that is in degrees for both cosine x and negative cosine x graphs. I hope you have learned something here today. So yeah, I'll see you in the next video where we talk about tangent graphs, and we will talk about the a sine bx plus c or the a cosine bx plus c, which appears quite often in exams. Alright, and you might wonder what they are. Alright, so we're going to cover that in the next video, and I know it's going to be 32 minutes, so bye.